Okay. Uh, okay, thank you for joining. Okay, thank you for joining. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much for joining. Please just give me a few minutes and I'm going to share the link and we'll continue. Thank you so much, Daniel, for tuning in. I'm really grateful to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just trying to share the links and then few minutes and we proceed. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to our live session today. And last week, we actually talked about HPV, and how we could uh, include AI into helping rural communities and helping the reduction of of HPV. So thank you once again for joining. Please don't forget to follow, don't forget to subscribe. Also, do not forget to share and invite someone, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your side chick, everybody, invite them to the session today. And we are going to be talking about HPV. I've titled today's topic to be HPV, the body's uninvited guest, and where it really hides. So, hey everyone, thank you so much for jumping live with me. And if you're just seeing this, welcome. You're right on time for, a conversation that might just change how you see your health forever. Now, if you've heard about HPV, what's the first word that pops in your head? You could leave it in the comment section, and then we could have a read through. So, if you've heard about HPV, what's the first question, or what's the first word that pops um, up in your mind about HPV? So, kindly leave it in the comment section, and then I could have a read through to our viewers and everybody listening. Also, before we proceed, HPV stands for the human papilloma virus, HPV, human papilloma virus. So, we've heard of cervical cancer, we've heard of women's health, we've heard of pap smear. Exactly. You're not wrong, but what if I told you that it's like only reading the first page, of a novel, or watching maybe one of your favorite TV shows, and the first 5 minutes into it. So, that's the setting, but you have no idea about the plot twist and other characters that will be in danger, and and everything. So today I want us to think this through and realize that we are actually reading the whole book, because right now we are having a conversation. We're talking about beyond cervical cancer, the other ways HPV shows up in our bodies. And this is for every single person here, whether you're a man, men, women, parents, siblings, cousins, nephew, niece, everybody. Let's dive in. So I want us to reframe HPV. HPV is not a woman's virus. It has that thing that, okay, HPV is a woman's virus, so it's just women, women, women. So for this show, for this Tuesday talks on HPV, I want us to first rebrand HPV. So I want us to stop calling it a woman's issue, or a sexually transmitted or an STI, in that is scary, and then it leads to stigmatization. Scientifically, it's actually a skin to skin contact virus, and it infects some epithelial cells and the cells that line on our body surfaces. So I want us to think of it that way. Don't link it completely to be, oh, HPV. So basically, you say HPV, oh, excuse me, now women wahala. So you leave it at that. No, everybody has to be involved. It has to be a collective effort to try to create awareness of this virus. Now, it doesn't just live on the cervix. It can live on the vulva, it can live on the vagina, it can live on the penis, it can live on the scrotum, it can live on the anus, and it can live on the mouth and the throat. And wherever there's skin to skin contact, there's actually a potential for HPV. Now, this is crucial because it changes the entire game of who is at risk and who is not at risk. So if you've been following our Tuesday talk shows, we earlier talked about HPV, we've talked about how we could transmit it, we've talked about the prevention techniques, we've talked about how we could input artificial intelligence into helping people with HPV, and also help facilitate HPV testing in rural communities. And today, if you're joining us, today our topic is HPV, the body's uninvited guest, and where it really hides in the body. So, like I said before, it lives in different parts of our body. So it's crucial because it actually changes the entire game of who is at risk and who is not at risk. So it's so funny, and you're there sitting down and thinking, oh, you're not at risk of the HPV virus, and you're not at risk of the HPV, sorry. But it's crazy because you yourself said that they don't know if your village people have told you that you're at risk. Let's leave it at that. Now let's look at the plot twist and bring in other different cancers. So the plot twist one is the truth. We have what is called the oropharyngeal cancer. And what is this? Is a cancer at the back of the throat, includes the tonsils and the base of the tongue. So now the main transmission routes can be oral sex, and this is not about morality, it's about virology. Now the virus can be passed from genitals to mouth. Okay, and now why is this sneaky? Is there's no screening test, like a pap smear for the service. There's no actually a routine swab for your throat. And now the first signs are often things we tend to ignore. Now a sore throat that won't quit, an ear pain, a hoarse voice, or a lump in the neck. And then by the time you begin to feel it, it can be advanced. And this is why vaccine is actually critical and is a primary intervention. And this is the main reason we are advocating for the HPV vaccine, either at a subsidized rate for people living within the rural communities and the suburban communities. Now let's dive into anal cancer. So I think some of us must have heard about anal cancer, anal cancer, anal cancer. What do you really know about anal cancer? Now, cancer of the anal canal. It affects both men and it affects women as well. Now, how does it occur? How I want you to think through, how do you think this occurs? Now, it can occur through anal sex, but also just through proximity from other infected genital areas. Now, when someone has anal cancer, if we are being honest to ourselves, the stigma is actually massive, and people start to think a lot of things. Thoughts begin to run through people's mind, what they want to say, what they don't want to say. But listen, I just want you to understand that in today's talk, not just like the service, the anus has transformation zones where the human papilloma virus can cause trouble. And guess what? There's a screening test and an anal pap smear, but almost no one talks about it because people are too embarrassed to ask. Imagine you going to the doctor to open, yourself and get examined or for something, and we are failing at it because we need to create awareness as public health advocates, as medical professionals, as social media influencers, as content creators, as politicians. We need to start having this conversation because we are failing at it. We are failing people by not having this conversation. We are failing people by not providing the basic needs or the basic resources to have this testing done. And now let's also not forget that it can also cause cancers of the vagina and penis, and also genital warts. Now, I'd like to say this virus is actually busy. Is the virus is busy, but we can be busier and smarter than the virus, because it's like you're trying to prevent this one, but it's causing a different thing for you at the end of the day. So which one are you fighting? Are you fighting anal cancer? Are you fighting oropharyngeal cancer? Are you fighting cervical cancer? Or you could actually take the vaccine, or you could join us in our advocacy campaign to help reduce the price of the HPV vaccine and the HPV testing, so people could actually have access to it. People, your girlfriend, your wife, your auntie, your niece, your side chick, everybody, all those ones you're hiding around the corners, they could actually have access to the vaccine. So I want to give you an assignment before we proceed. When next you go to have maybe kiss someone or have kind of knowledge of the person, ask the person, babe, have you done your pap smear screening? Or have you had your HPV testing done? These are the two questions you should ask before you begin to go down low and remove your shorts and insert. The thing is, we try to deceive ourselves that, that we tend to use condom and then nothing is wrong. But is prevention not actually better than cure? Why don't you just prevent it than for you to start looking for treatment and jumping everywhere? So we could actually advocate for this. So join me in the advocacy campaign. And now, how do we fight back? How do we fight back? This HPV thing we've been talking about, HPV, we've been going on it on and on for weeks. We've been organizing seminars. You see, the HPV is there, but it's not as common as the way people organize seminars and testing for breast cancer, for screening and everything. The thing is, it's quite expensive, because if you want to test 1,000 women for the virus, okay, let's say you test 1,000 women for the virus and 100 of them or 50 of them come out positive for the virus. How do you go about the treatment? Is a lot of expenses. That is why it's something we all need to come together and try to advocate for the vaccination. Now, what is our super weapon? Now, the number one super weapon we have to fight this back, I call it the asthma, is the vaccine. Now, the HPV vaccine, I personally think it has a PR problem. The reason why I say it has a PR problem is it's been marketed as cervical cancer vaccine for girls. Now, that is a massive undersell. When you're marketing hepatitis B, we know hepatitis B vaccine. Everybody wants to get hepatitis B vaccine. Now, when you begin to market cervical cancer vaccine for girls, there's a massive undersell, because it registers in people's mind to say, oh, it's for girls, cervical cancer vaccine, so it's for them. Now, what if we turn it around and call it cervical cancer prevention vaccine for everyone? So everybody is included. We are able to cover we're able to include everybody into the process. So you're asking your girlfriend, you're asking your wife, you're asking your nephew, your nieces, your cousins, have you had the HPV vaccine? So it's cancer prevention vaccine for everyone. Now, it protects against the high risk strains that causes all the cancers we just talked about: cervical, anal, throat, penile. Now, vaccinating boys in some countries, I think, I can't really remember but I know in some countries they also try to vaccinate the boys against the virus as well. Now, it's not just about herd immunity. It's also about directly protecting them from throat and anal cancer, and is actually a non-negotiable part of cancer prevention for our children as well. So the thing is, we live in a generation where no matter how you tend to protect your kids, they would like to explore. So before they get to the exploration state, why don't you help prevent them from getting this virus? Now, our number two super weapon is awareness and advocacy. Now, since there's no much of a throat screening, our awareness is our screening. So a persistent symptom lasting like more than 2 to 3 weeks, you should get to see a doctor. You should advocate for yourself. And those that are at a higher risk, you could ask your doctor for an anal test. There's nothing to be ashamed about, because if you know you're doing the do, why are you ashamed to get a test? You break the taboo, because most importantly, your life is what's more than any embarrassment you're going to get at that time. Your life is what's more than anything anybody is going to say to you. Because God forbid you drop dead today, they will say, oh, see waiting kill him, this is what happened to him, that's what happened to him. So why don't you just get it done once and for all? Now, for everyone with a service, keeping keep getting those pap smears, like everyone that keep getting those pap smears, examination, HPV testing is a proven life-saving system. Now, our best defense I call this my best defense combination mechanism. So it's vaccination, awareness, and breaking stigma. So vaccination, awareness, and breaking stigma. That is our best defense. And because of this, we've actually created the flyer, and the link is on my social media handles. All you have to do is click on it, input your picture, post it on your social media pages, and let's come together and advocate for subsidized or free HPV testing and vaccination for people living within the rural communities or the suburban communities. Now, if you got any questions, don't forget to drop them on the comment section. Also, before we go, I actually have a mission for you. We are 1 minute past time. I actually have a mission for you. I want you to share this live, tag a friend, tag a brother, a father, a wife, because this info needs to get out there. Talk to your family about the HPV vaccine. Please talk to your family, talk to the people you party with, you club with, you pray with, you sing with, you live with. Talk to them about the HPV vaccine. Talk to them about the HPV testing. Talk to them. Talk to your sons. Talk to your daughters. Promise yourself. I want you to promise yourself that you will listen to your body and never dismiss a persistent symptom. I want you to also promise yourself that you will not attribute every symptom to malaria and typhoid, but you will listen to your body and never dismiss a persistent symptom. And also normalize this conversation, talk about it. We break stigmas by talking about it. We break stigma by talking about it. So talk about it wherever you find yourself. Have that conversation. Have that conversation. So we have a question. How does the test go? Is it painful? No, it's not really painful. So you've got a speculum inserted, and within a minute or two, if it's been taken by a professional, you shouldn't feel the pain. So they'll take the sample, and that is it for the pap smear screening. So some cases, if you're very tight down there, you could feel the pain once it goes inside of you. But in some situations, you actually do not. The pain level is about on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. Depending on your pain, your tolerance, it could be between 3 to 4. Yeah. So please, let's talk about it. Let's get people involved in this. Let's get people involved in this. Like I said on our last session, so you could get the vaccine in the some private hospitals sell it, but they give it out, but it's quite expensive. You could get the vaccine in if you live in Port Harcourt, you could get it at the River State University Teaching Hospital. I don't know if Sterling gives it as well, but it's to make inquiries. And also at GIRIF, we are also trying to come up with this campaign to get free subsidized vaccine and free subsidized texting for people that engage in our conversations as a way to say thank you. Okay, when you go to for the examination, and then you are being placed in a room, you are asked to take off your undergarment, you spread your legs, and what we call a speculum. Everybody needs to have a disposable speculum that is used for that particular patient. So after that, it's being disposed. So it's being inserted into the walls of the cervix. So they open up your vagina, insert it, and then sometimes they use a brush, and they take the sample and put it in a container, depending on the hospital. So I'm telling you the one we used to do at our hospital. So they take the sample, and once you're done, they dispose of that speculum. So they don't rinse it and anything. So it's a disposable speculum just to avoid transmission of infections or anything. And then they dispose it, and they take the sample and send it to the lab for examination. So if we have further questions, please leave them in the comment section, and I hope I've been able to answer your questions. So please join us. Let's advocate for this vaccine. Everybody needs to get the vaccine. I keep saying that you can be faithful. You can be faithful to your partner, but is your partner faithful to you? So you have to protect yourself. Protect protect yourself, not for yourself alone, but for the people that truly, truly love you and care about you. So let's talk about it wherever we are. Whether we are in church, we are in the mosque, we are in a family gathering, we are in a bridal shower, birthday party, mini wedding ceremony, let's talk about it. So if you have a very high pain threshold or something, when you go for the screening, explain to the nurses that this is how you feel, so they would know to be gentle on you. Yeah. So thank you so much, beautiful people, for your time, for your curiosity, and for caring about your health. And I want you to understand that this is how we change the narrative, one life section at a time. I want you to stay empowered, stay positive, and I'll see you somewhere next week where we will dissect HPV and religious beliefs. Thank you so much once again. Have a lovely evening. I love you all. And please get tested and get the vaccine and join our advocacy campaign. Bye bye.